The Emberfang homeworld burned with perpetual twilight, its three suns casting crimson shadows across crystalline forests that hummed with ancient predatory songs. Lieutenant Mira Solon stood at the edge of the training ground, her human frame dwarfed by the towering obsidian structures the Emberfangs called their academy. She was the first human to set foot in this sacred place, and every fiber of her being knew it. The cubs emerged from the shadows like liquid fire. Their fur rippled with bioluminescent patterns, each one a warning to lesser creatures. We hunt, we kill, we dominate. The oldest among them barely reached adolescence by Emberfang standards, yet each stood twice Mira's height, with claws that could shred titanium and jaws designed to crush bone. They circled her slowly, testing. The Emberfang species had ruled this sector of the galaxy for 3 millennia. Their language contained only 2 classifications for sentient life: Keshivara, predator, and Selmara, prey. When the human diplomatic vessel had requested cultural exchange, the Emberfang Council had laughed, a sound like grinding metal that echoed through their great halls. Humans were small, soft, with blunt teeth and no claws. Prey, obviously. Amusing prey that somehow built starships, but prey nonetheless. Mira had volunteered anyway. The largest cub, his mane already showing the silver streaks of future leadership, stepped forward. His name was Korthax, and his eyes held the golden fire of hunting moons. He spoke in the growling cadence of Emberfang high speech, a language Mira had spent 6 months learning. Show us what you are, Softskin. Show us if you bleed fear or hunt with courage. The translation implant in Mira's skull rendered his words, but it was the scent markers he released that told the true story. He was curious. Not contemptuous, curious. That was something. Mira didn't flinch. She'd grown up on Earth's Australian outback station, where death came in 100 different venoms and fangs. Fear was an old friend, and she'd learned long ago not to let it control her. I'm neither Keshivara nor Selmara, she said, her voice steady. I'm here to learn and to teach. The cubs chittered, their version of laughter. One of them, smaller than the others with patches of missing fur from a recent molting, darted forward and swiped at Mira's leg. Not to wound, but to test reflexes. Mira moved not away but into the strike. She caught the cub's wrist mid-swipe and used the momentum to redirect, sending the young Emberfang tumbling in a controlled roll. It wasn't strength. Mira couldn't match their strength. It was physics, leverage, and 10 years of close-quarters combat training in the Human Defense Corps. The training ground went silent. The small cub bounded to its feet, eyes wide with something that might have been shock or excitement. Korthax's tail lashed once, twice, a sign of deep contemplation. You did not flee, he observed. But you did not attack to kill.
What manner of creature are you?
Over the following weeks, Mira integrated into the cubs' training regimen. She couldn't match their raw power, their speed, or their natural weapons, but she could outthink them. When they practiced hunting simulations, Mira showed them human tactics, ambush points, crossfire positions, supply line disruption, concepts that went beyond the Emberfang philosophy of direct confrontation. She taught them about persistence hunting, how early humans would chase prey not with speed but with endurance, running for days until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. She showed them tool use, improvised weapons, how a small creature with a big brain could topple giants. And she learned from them. The cubs taught her their hunting songs, the way scent could tell stories more complex than words, how to read the micro-movements that predicted an attack. They taught her to embrace the predator within, the part of humanity that had clawed its way to the top of Earth's food chain, not through fang or claw, but through relentless, terrifying intelligence. The turning point came during the Trial of Shadows. It was an ancient Emberfang rite where cubs faced a fully grown Dreadfang, a creature even adult. Emberfangs respected in the crystalline forests. The goal wasn't to kill it, but to survive until dawn. Cubs went in packs and casualties were expected. Korthax insisted Mira join them. The Dreadfang was a nightmare-given form, all chitinous armor and too many eyes. When it attacked, 3 cubs went down in the first seconds. Mira's implant screamed warnings, her heart hammering against her ribs. Every human instinct told her to run, to hide, to find a hole and prey. Instead, she ran toward it. She'd noticed something the cubs had missed: the creature's joints. Where armor plates met, showed thermal signatures, weak points. She screamed for Korthax, not in fear but in command, and for the first time, a human voice carried the harmonic frequencies of Emberfang battle coordination. What followed was a dance of teeth, claws, and desperate human ingenuity. Mira used her smaller size to slip beneath attacks, marking weak points with chemical markers from her kit. The cubs, following her lead, struck in coordinated patterns they'd never attempted before. Not individual hunters, but a pack with a strange, small tactician at its heart. When dawn broke, the Dreadfang limped away, and all the cubs stood breathing. The next day, the council summoned Mira. She stood before the eldest Emberfangs, certain she'd crossed some cultural line, violated some sacred taboo. Korthax and his pack stood behind her, a wall of fur and solidarity. The High Elder's voice rumbled like distant thunder. Our language is ancient. For 3,000 cycles, all life has been predator or prey. You have shown us this is insufficient. He paused, his eyes reflecting millennia of tradition. The cubs have created a new word. Keshmara, hunter who thinks like prey yet fights like predator. You are the first Keshmara, Lieutenant Mira Solon, and you have earned your place among the packs. Korthax's tail wrapped gently around Mira's shoulder, an Emberfang gesture of pack bonding. The other cubs pressed close, their rumbling purrs vibrating through her chest. Mira smiled. Humanity had just been reclassified by the galaxy's apex predators, not as prey to be hunted nor as fellow predators to compete with, but as something new, something that thought like the hunted but fought with the mind of a hunter, something terrifying in its own right. The cubs had given humanity a new name, and the galaxy would learn what it meant.